The mission statement says that Liberty Harbor Academy nurtures students toward their noblest character, their greatest potential, intellectually, morally, and spiritually. It's a full education. It's not just about academics. If we give these students a really good education and they can teach themselves, they can do whatever they want to do. They can make their own life and take advantage of opportunities.
Rather than just having a set curriculum where you take classes and then you are left to your own devices, this is a more all-encompassing curriculum. You learn material, but you'll go over it many times. You won't have you'll learn one thing and then never cover it again. Instead, you will learn it, you'll cover it again in another class from another angle, and so it becomes a deeper learning.
Everything here is connected to everything else. The spiral education is the system that we use. You don't stop learning science because you're in humanities, because the people who studied humanities were also the people who did science. The Archimedes, the Renaissance men, they didn't study just one thing, they studied everything, and that's a really big thing, is that everything is connected. Science affects history, history affects science, science affects math, and math affects science, and how it all connects together. It's a really big thing here.
The goal here is to integrate music fully into the whole education. I think the philosophy here at Liberty Harbor is to develop the whole human being, the whole person, and music is a key part of that.
Well, I think a question a lot of people might ask is why film at this age? It's typically something that you study later on, more in your collegiate years. It's the art form that they're most frequently exposed to, and one that they typically indulge in on their own 2 to 3 hours a day. We try to analyze films from this period as well as others and include them with other things that they're studying so that they can get a knowledge not only of film, but have film be a way that they incorporate knowledge from other classes.
Here at Liberty Harbor Academy, we don't use any textbooks. We only use primary sources, so the text actually written by the person, because we know that that doesn't really have any spin on it, whereas a textbook can put a spin on something and make it sound a certain way and influence history.
But also we're very concerned about self-presentation, about how one can present themselves out in public, how they dress, how they act, how they speak. So we're trying to really get to the whole person, not just teach one individual aspect of them.
The things that they teach you at the school are completely different than what they teach you at public school. They teach you how to be in a professional business interview, how to shake hands. They set you up with an internship so that you can get real-world experience. They teach us how to be women and how to be men and how to become the best that we possibly can be.
They don't just worry about the education, and they also worry about, they want me to be the best person I can be when I leave, so that I'm ready for the world and ready to go to a job interview and be accepted. I learned how to dress. I learned how to shake people's hands. I learned how to socialize with adults.
How many sides to a square? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many corners to a triangle? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, gotcha. No, you switch. I think the improv class is very important toward their growth as individuals. It's something that looks like a lot of just fun and games, and it is. It's very fun, but it also contributes toward their interaction with each other and their communication with each other. It greatly enforces communal support and support of individuals that you communicate with, and encourages action and support and positivity, and those are all things that you can bring into other classrooms and into the real world.
While they have their standard curriculum Monday through Thursday, on Friday they're out in the community, and that's my day. That's the day I take the kids out, and we may go tour a local business, we may bring a CEO in to talk to the students, we may go to a nonprofit organization or a municipality, all in an effort to show them that this is where they will ultimately be, and they need to start to visualize where they best fit. And what I enjoy doing most is observing their interest level on things. So I'm able to pick out a student being very excited or enthused about a certain subject area. For example, if we go to PSNH and we're learning about green energy and somebody's very interested in it, I can say, I noticed you were interested in this. Let's try to get you involved in this way, or let's see if we can get an internship or have you job shadow.
We enrolled Anne at Liberty Harbor Academy because her needs were not being met in the public school. We had tried homeschooling and we were looking at other options. My daughter needed something that would reach her as an individual. She's creative, she has her own learning style, and she's actually very bright. And Liberty Harbor has brought out that excellence in her.
They take a look at the individual student as an individual. They don't have a paintbrush, here's our method, we're going to apply it to all the students, one size fits all. They really take the time to say, okay, what is your child's interest? Where's your child looking to go? How can we help facilitate that? And they really spend a lot of time and effort in helping your child become their best, whatever their gifts and talents are.
Jackson's always had a difficult time learning new information, and when we started to go to middle school, it was more prevalent. And at that point, they just wanted to code him and put him in a room. And then the meetings became, monthly, and the emails and the phone calls about what Jackson cannot do, not focusing on what he's done and what he could do. So this decision to come to Liberty Harbor was a very important one for us, because it was a different type of school. You're taking them out of the norm. The norm is all that you've ever known, is you go to the public school and that's what you know. But from the first phone call that I made into Liberty Harbor was a welcome hug, if you might say, over the phone, talking to Dr. Juliana Cooper. She was so welcoming that afternoon on the phone that I found myself running in here the next afternoon. And after talking with her for, I think it was almost 3 hours, about everything the school had to offer, I was in. As far as I was concerned, when I left that building, I was signing him up. Then my husband came down the next day and was completely engaged in their whole philosophy of treating each child as an individual, and that each individual has their own ability to learn at their own pace.
I'm not really that interested in how well you did in the public school, because this is a completely different experience. It really doesn't equate in that sense. So come here, be what you can be and what you want to be, and when you think you've had enough, when you think you're at a place where yeah, I got this, I'm good now. We here as the faculty and the staff are just going to push you one more time, and we're going to say, nope, time to move up again. Time to raise the standards. Time to say, now that you've learned that, that's the stepping stone. That's just a step on the ladder.
When I first came to the school, we received a list of books that we would be reading. My mom looked at it and her jaw dropped, and I asked why. She said, there are more advanced books on here than I read in my freshman year of college. But the way that the teachers present the information, and that's a big thing here, is you can teach anybody anything as long as the information is presented correctly. If you're thinking about sending your kid to this school, just do it. Just try it. You will be amazed the information that you can pick up from this. I remember last year we had a 10-year-old in our school, and she was working on the same level as I was. A 10-year-old reading Locke and Rousseau and all these books. That's amazing, and anybody, once again, anybody can come here and learn. The environment is built to do that.
If you would have asked me 3 months ago if I would have been sitting around a table having a conversation with my husband and my son Jackson about the differences between Abraham and Confucius, I would have said, no way. And now we have conversations about the Bible and world history and things that go on.
Every day, my daughter has advisement, and that advisor is like a mentor to her and helps guide her every single day. I don't know where else you can get that.
The relationship with our teachers is fantastic. They treat us like we're human beings, like we're adults, and not like we're children, like we have to be babysat. They trust us to do what we're supposed to do. We don't usually have lunch in the cafeteria, actually. Usually we sit in a professor's office and we talk to them and they advise us, and it's a lot of fun because you're just constantly learning and you're constantly being enriched in your education.
There aren't normal boundaries between class and free time. Everyone is participating in their education all the time, whether they know it or not. It is not uncommon for during lunch or between classes that a chess game will be going on, a discussion of what another teacher was talking about in class.
So my ultimate goal here is to make sure that they are ready to be contributing citizens in their community, but also in a way that people will want to work with them. And basically they'll be able to choose wherever they want to go because they'll be in such demand.